Hey, you're listening to Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM 89.0. I'm your host, Grady Hooker. We'll start off with this day in history for the 12th of July. WWF had actually 4 Madison Square Garden shows in 1963, 65, 75, and 86. Just shows you how important Madison Square Garden was back in the day. WCW had a Great American Bash pay-per-view in 1992, the main event of which was a WCW World Heavyweight Championship match. Vader came out on top, defeating Sting after a powerbomb. WCW also had another pay-per-view, this time Bash at the Beach, in 1998. Hollywood Hulk Hogan and Dennis Rodman teamed up to take on Diamond Dallas Page and Carl Maloney. Hulk Hogan ended up pinning Diamond Dallas Page after a stunner from Dennis Rodman's manager. WCW also had a Nitro in 1999, the main event of which was a WCW World Heavyweight Championship match. Hulk Hogan defeated the then champion Randy Savage after the interferences of Sid, Sting, and Nash. Going head-to-head with that was a WWF Raw, also in 1999, the main event of which was a Brothers of Destruction. They took on Big Show and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Big Show and Steve Austin ended up picking up the win after a Stone Cold stunner. More modern age now, WWE had a Raw in 2004. Edge took on Batista, who was in the Evolution faction at this point. Edge ended up winning with a roll-up, which continued their feud. In 2010, WWE had a Raw. The Nexus angle is just starting to start off at this point. John Cena took on the Nexus. The Nexus ended up dominating Cena. I think it was a 7-on-1 match. But after the match, Sheamus came out and helped Cena, leading to the alliance between the heroes and the villains just to take out the Nexus. And last year, in 2012, TNA had an Impact, where the Aces and Eights continued to decimate the roster, very similar to the Nexus, which were 2 years earlier. But they attacked Hulk Hogan and Sting this Impact, leaving them both laid out. Talking of Sting, I'll now play our classic entrance theme of the week, Sting's Man Called Sting. So that was Sting's entrance theme, Man Called Sting. Okay, you're back with Grady Hooker and Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM 89.0, and live via Skype right now I've got Brandon.
Hey guys, and thanks Grady for having me on the show again.
All good. Monday Night Raw, it started off with Vicky Guerrero introducing the show and announcing John Cena versus Alberto Del Rio for later tonight.
Vicky Guerrero put up a very good match, and we'll talk about that later on.
Yeah. It started the WWE Champion, World Heavyweight Champion sort of theme that carried on throughout the night.
Yep, definitely.
Okay, the opening segment, Daniel Bryan came out and it ended up just being a giant confrontation between all of the Money in the Bank competitors.
This was a very good opening segment, and it really starts building up the feud between all of these guys in this match, and it's really going to help bring up the buy number for the pay-per-view and make viewers more interested.
Yeah. At the end of it, Kane took an RKO.
Yep. Kane seems to be Daniel Bryan's pawn with Randy Orton as of late, so let's see if that goes anywhere.
Yeah. Okay, so then the first video package popped up. Their WWE champion was Buddy Rogers, and their world heavyweight was Lou Thez.
I really like these segments throughout the night. I think they made you really look at the prestige of both championships and really see what champion versus champion is really all about.
Yeah. If we just talk about them all now, the next one was Bruno Sammartino and Harley Race. Then the next one was Bob Backlund and Dusty Rhodes.
Yep. WWE is embracing I believe it's AWA or NWA, I'm not sure, and WCW. So it's good to see that they're recognizing their past.
Yep. Talking about WCW, then you head in and you got your Hulk Hogan and your Ric Flair, and then Steve Austin and Sting. And the final two were Triple H and Booker T. Okay, so back to the actual show at the start of it. The Wyatt family had a promo, and then later on in the show they announced they were coming out next week.
Next week on Monday Night Raw, the Wyatt family are going to make a huge impact, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's not just going to be like a match. I think they're going to make a huge impact, probably attacking somebody. I don't know. but I know that they're going to make a huge impact in the WWE.
Yep. It'll be great to see how they're going to pull off the three-man, if they're going to do a tag team, a single and two bodyguards, or a three-man, or what.
On NXT, Bray Wyatt was more of like a manager to them,
Okay.
and they didn't really compete in six-man tag team matches a lot. So what I think is going to happen is going to be Luke Harper and Eric Rowan as a tag team and Bray Wyatt as a singles competitor.
Okay. The first match of the night was the Shield taking on Christian and the Usos.
This was a very good matchup, a rematch from this past Friday on Friday Night SmackDown, where Christian and the Usos picked up the upset, but they weren't able to pick up the upset this time.
No. Ambrose winning with a roll-up to take out his Money in the Bank competitor.
This sets up, I think it's going to set up Christian versus Dean Ambrose down the road, and it really also helps further the Usos versus Roman Reigns, so they actually have something to get mad at each other about.
Yeah. The Usos before this weren't looking too strong, with the Shield looking as like the unstoppable force, but with the losses of recent, it's making it look more like a fair fight.
Yep, it looks pretty fair coming into Money in the Bank, so let's see which way it goes.
Okay, the next one was Team Hell No backstage. Bryan got Kane a rematch against Orton, but Bryan's going to be the special guest ref.
That was an interesting twist. Was when I heard what Daniel Bryan was saying, okay, Kane versus Randy Orton, but then when he announced he was going to be the special guest referee, it immediately made me interested.
Yep. Okay, well, the next match was Dolph Ziggler taking on 3MB member Jinder Mahal.
This was a short, but not that bad of a match. I think that Dolph Ziggler's very good in his new character. I think it really... I'm kind of confused as why they're making it look like Dolph Ziggler is feuding with 3MP as of late, when he's actually going to be taking on Del Rio at Money in the Bank. So let's see if this leads to a 3-on-1 handicap match, but let's see where it goes.
Yep. Okay, Vicky and Maddox backstage again, this time getting pressured by Triple H.
Yep. They continue what's the word for it, friction with the McMahon family.
Yep.
So let's see if Vicky gets removed as the GM, or maybe if something happens to Triple H. Let's see where it goes.
Yeah, because then later on in the night, Vince comes in again, and then Stephanie later on. And Stephanie actually announces that they'll do a job evaluation next week as well.
From an unbiased standpoint, I think Vicky Guerrero has done a great job as a Raw managing supervisor. So I think she should be promoted to GM, but the fans are against her, and so are the McMahon family. So let's see where it happens.
Yep. Okay, then we get a nice video package of Mark Henry's career.
Yep, it's really looking at how far Mark Henry has come from his days from Nation of Domination to his present day of domination. So let's see if Mark Henry can win the WWE Championship from John Cena and really complete his total package.
Yep. We talked about it earlier. This time now Randy Orton actually takes on Kane.
Yep, this is a very good match. Randy Orton has done very good in the ring as of late, in my opinion. So I really like the finish of this match.
Yeah. It sets up all three going against each other in the Money in the Bank match.
I think at SummerSlam maybe we can see a triple threat between the three, but it's rumored that Daniel Bryan will be facing John Cena, so maybe Daniel Bryan will eventually come out of the feud between these three two.
Yeah, but Bryan seems to be the very annoying person, the thorn in Kane's side at this point.
He's not making many friends with Randy Orton and Kane, but they continue to get along, so maybe... I don't know. It's going to be very interesting this summer.
Yep. Okay, Fandango then takes on Sheamus.
This wasn't a very good match, but it wasn't bad. Sheamus winning by countout. It makes Fandango still look strong, but it made him look weak in a way.
Yeah, that he's not ready yet.
Yep. So, at Money in the Bank, Sheamus looks to get his hands on Fandango, and I think that's going to happen.
Okay. Then the next match was Ryback taking on The Miz.
This was a very interesting match. I was surprised that Ryback made the match stop, basically.
Yeah.
So, let's see if this happens again in the future, but Ryback hasn't been the same as of late since he lost to John Cena. So, let's see if Ryback can get on the roll he was last year.
Yeah, his leg is very sore.
Yeah, The Miz targeting his leg throughout the matchup. And I think if Ryback didn't stop the match, I think The Miz would have won by submission.
Yeah. And then after the match, Jericho reinforces their match at Money in the Bank by hitting a code breaker.
Yep, Ryback's not going to be happy about this. So I think in the future, Jericho's going to regret what he just did.
Yeah. Okay. Mark Henry comes out and just sort of elaborates on his promo about his career.
Yep, furthering John Cena versus Mark Henry even more, and it's going to make a very interesting match at Money in the Bank, because I think, personally, it can go either way. Mark Henry could pick up the upset, or John Cena can retain his championship. So let's see where it goes.
Okay, well, this is a good time to flick over to the current entrance theme of the week. It's Christian's Just Close Your Eyes. That was Christian's entrance theme, Just Close Your Eyes. You're back with Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM 89.0 and Brandon and Grady. Okay.
Yep, I'm right here.
So if we start back off where we left, CM Punk and Curtis Axel took on the Primetime Players.
Yep, Curtis Axel tagged himself in when CM Punk could have very well won the match for his team. And CM Punk wasn't very too happy about the way Curtis Axel won for his team, but they still picked up the victory.
Yeah, but it just furthers the CM Punk versus Heyman guys.
Yep, Paul Heyman wants to keep his group together, but CM Punk wants to stray away, which I don't think could be a very good idea for CM Punk, because there's going to be two Paul Heyman guys in Lesnar and Axel versus one.
Yeah, it's always hard when you got the numbers game against you.
Yep, so CM Punk should take that into consideration and maybe find his own CM Punk guy.
Okay, well, we've got a Divas match up next. Alicia Fox took on Caitlyn.
This was a quick match, one of the better Divas matches I've seen as of late, but Caitlyn picked up the win with a spear.
Yeah, and after the match, AJ furthers the AJ-Caitlyn match at Money in the Bank again.
AJ better watch what she's doing here, because she's angering Caitlyn, and Caitlyn can hit that spear out of nowhere, so AJ better hold on to her Divas Championship as long as she can.
Yeah. The next match was Cody Rhodes taking on Antonio Cesaro.
This was an interesting match because you don't usually see the bad guys versus the bad guys, so it was a fresh take on what we need to see more of. But Antonio Cesaro still picked up the victory.
Yeah, it hyped the future Money in the Bank match, as well as, I think, furthering the split between Team Rhodes Scholars, not too sure.
Yeah, because as of late, Team Rhodes Scholars hasn't been the best, so... And they've showed friction between each other. So at Money in the Bank, when they're going against each other in the same match, let's see if they collide.
Yep. Backstage, the Total Divas show. Not too sure what's going on here, but the Bella Twins are dissing what looks to me to be two random people.
I didn't really pay attention to this segment. I thought it had no meaning to it, so this is a fail segment to me.
Pretty much. Not actually sure who those two people were, but... Yeah,
Yep.
It didn't get its point across to me, at least.
Yep, it was a meaningless segment and it didn't have a place on the show. They just wanted Total Divas to get a plug and that's it.
Yep. Okay, well, the main event of the night, John Cena taking on Alberto Del Rio.
This was a very, very good match in my opinion. It hasn't gotten the praise I think it should have, but I think it's because of the competitors in the match, but they still impressed me.
Yeah, both of the number one contenders came out and had their point in the match as well.
Yep, continuing the build-up to Money in the Bank.
Yep, and of course Cena coming out on top.
Yep, John Cena picked up the win in a very good matchup, and I think that was the right move since Del Rio hasn't been as popular as of late, so I think it really may have helped the ratings when John Cena picked up the win.
Okay, well, jumping over to Friday Night SmackDown, CM Punk's going to win the Money in the Bank?
I don't know, maybe, because CM Punk and Del Rio, they haven't gotten along as of late. But it's going to be interesting because Del Rio's feuding with Dolph Ziggler, so maybe let's see if CM Punk and Del Rio collide down the road.
Yeah, Teddy sets the CM Punk Alberto match for the main event of the night. Straight after it, CM Punk's backstage with Heyman. He tells Heyman to stay out of it.
Paul Heyman, he really wants CM Punk, so Paul Heyman's looking to get CM Punk back in his corner, but CM Punk's starting to stray away.
Yeah. Later on in the night, Teddy Long actually sets Paul Heyman as the commentator for the CM Punk match.
Yep, Paul Heyman going to his classic role as a commentator, and I think it added a nice aspect to the main event.
Yep. So jumping back, the first match on SmackDown was the Usos taking on Team Rhodes Scholars.
This was a quick match, and as we noted earlier in the show, that Team Rhodes Scholars haven't gotten along as of late. So maybe let's see if they collide at Money in the Bank.
Yep. The Usos did a cool double Superfly splash to end the match.
Yep, I don't think we've seen this move from the Usos before, so it was kind of nice to see something new from them.
Yeah, and after the match, the Shield send a message to just further their feud.
Yep, the Usos look to prove a point at Money in the Bank against the Shield.
A rematch of what we saw on Raw. Alicia Fox took on Caitlyn again.
This is a decent Divas match, but I was kind of surprised Alicia Fox picked up the victory because she has been in a huge slump as of late. So let's see if Alicia can get it out of her slump.
Yeah, back in the old days, if you pinned the number one contender, didn't that mean that you were now the number one contender?
Yeah, pretty much, but I don't think Alicia deserves the title shot at this point.
No. But Caitlyn did chase AJ off to continue their match again.
Yep, AJ running off, so Caitlyn's looking to get her hands on AJ very soon.
Yep. Backstage, Orton and Christian set up a match.
Yep, a while back, Randy Orton versus Christian for the world title, but these two guys have been stuck in like the mid-card for a long time, so I really liked the match they put on later on in the night.
Yeah, it's pretty much right afterwards. It was a great match between the two of them, Orton ending up winning with an RKO.
Yep, a lot of chemistry between the two, but I wasn't surprised to see Randy Orton win with an RKO.
No. Okay, well, up next, Dolph Ziggler cut a promo and then straight into a match against another 3MB member, Drew McIntyre.
Again, something between Drew and 3MB, so they're not Drew, Dolph, so it's going to be interesting. Let's see if they get involved in the match at Money in the Bank, which I think could be a real possibility.
Yeah. After the match, Ziggler disposed of all of them again.
Yep, Ziggler escaping, and he's really starting to get the fans behind him, so let's see if Ziggler can continue his role.
Okay. Straight after that, Fandango took on Justin Gabriel.
I like Justin Gabriel, and I was impressed by him in this match, and Fandango won with the top rope leg drop again.
Yeah, it's quite an impressive leg drop.
Yep, it must have hurt. I think it hurts Fandango more than the opponent, but it's still a devastating maneuver.
Yeah. Okay, then we get a new We the People promo video.
Yep, it looks like going forward, Antonio Cesaro and Jack Swagger will be a tag team managed by Zeb Coulter, so I think that Zeb Coulter can lead these two to a tag team title reign.
Okay. Straight after that, the main event, CM Punk taking on Alberto Del Rio.
Another good match between these two, a lot of chemistry, and it was kind of interesting to see CM Punk defend Paul Heyman after not really getting along with him as of late.
Yeah, they're still friends.
Yep, they're still friends, but it's kind of weird because it looks like he's already broken away from him.
Yeah.
So why go and defend him?
Okay, it makes sense. If we jump over to the Money in the Bank card for this year, the pre-show is the WWE Tag Team Championship match between the Shields and the Usos.
I was really surprised this match was going to be on the pre-show because this has had a decent amount of build-up. So I think that the Shield will end up winning, but I think the Usos versus Shield is not over.
Yeah, I think the Shield will win, yeah, but it's going to be a good match between the two of them that will get everybody fired up.
Yep, definitely.
Then the WWE Divas Championship, AJ defending against Caitlyn.
I think there's no way AJ drops her title after she just won it, but I still don't, just like the Shield versus Usos, I don't think this feud is over.
No, I think Caitlyn's going to get closer and closer to completely snapping.
Yep, it's going to be interesting to see where Caitlyn goes from there.
Another championship match, the WWE Intercontinental Championship match, Curtis Axel defending against The Miz.
This match hasn't really had the best build-up, but I think that Curtis Axel's going to end up picking the victory up.
Yeah, you've got Paul Heyman in his corner.
Yep, and that's always an advantage. So maybe The Miz can get Alex Riley in his corner to counteract Paul Heyman, but I think that Curtis Axel's still going to pick up the victory regardless.
Yeah. Okay, the singles match between Chris Jericho and Ryback.
Yep, I think this match is going to be pretty interesting because Ryback hasn't been on a roll as of late, and Jericho was on a big roll before he lost to CM Punk at Payback. So let's see who's going to be able to get back on their respective paths.
I think we'll see Ryback come out on top here, but it all depends on how well healed his leg is.
Yep, definitely, because Jericho can apply his Walls of Jericho and definitely add a lot more damage to Ryback's leg.
Yeah. Then one of the four main events, the World Heavyweight Championship match, Alberto defending against Dolph Ziggler.
I think Alberto Del Rio will win this match. Ziggler's a heavy favorite, but I don't think this feud is over, so I think in order to make this feud much longer, I think Del Rio has to win cheap.
Yeah, I picked Dolph Ziggler, but that's more personal. I really want him to get his title back more than what I think they're going to do.
I think Ziggler's going to get his championship back at SummerSlam, but we'll see where Del Rio goes to retain his title.
Okay, the other championship match, the WWE Championship, Cena defending against Mark Henry.
I think there's no question that John Cena will win this match, but I still think that Mark Henry could pick up the upset.
Yeah, I think there'll be a undetermined sort of finish.
Yeah, that'd be a pretty interesting match because Mark Henry still wants a shot at the WWE Championship. Even if he does lose that Money in the Bank, he's not stopping.
No. Okay, well, the two Money in the Bank ladder matches, the World Heavyweight one, dubbed The Future. You got Wade Barrett, Cody Rhodes, Damian Sandow, Dean Ambrose, Fandango, Jack Swagger, and Antonio Cesaro.
I really like the competitors in this Money in the Bank. To my understanding, there's only one previous winner in this match, so there's a huge chance we see a first-time winner, and it's going to be great to see somebody finally get a world title shot that they rightfully deserve.
Yeah, you got a lot of combustible elements in here when you got the Team Rhodes Scholars and the We the People.
I don't see the We the People Alliance breaking up because they've been on the same page. Team Rhodes Scholars, they haven't seen eye to eye as of late, so maybe they're going to turn on one another in this match.
Okay, who do you think's going to win the match?
I think it's going to come down to Dean Ambrose or Wade Barrett, and possibly maybe even Bray Wyatt if he's inserted into this match at a later point.
Okay. The other one, the WWE All-Stars Money in the Bank match with CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, Randy Orton, Sheamus, Christian, Kane, and the returning Rob Van Dam.
I don't get why this is called Money in the Bank All-Stars when Sheamus has only been in one Money in the Bank ladder match.
Yeah. It's got a fair few winners in it.
Yeah, but fair few winners. It's going to really add a unpredictable element because Randy Orton, he's never won a Money in the Bank, so he's thirsty to win this match.
Okay, so who do you think's going to win?
I think it's going to come down to Daniel Bryan or CM Punk, honestly, because Daniel Bryan, he's been on a huge roll as of late, and CM Punk is the best in the world. So let's see if he can really back up that title.
Do you think we'll see any sort of interference from Brock Lesnar?
I definitely think a Paul Heyman guy will interfere into this match.
Okay. Well, it's been great having you on, Brandon.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so for birthdays this week, we had Richie Steamboat, current NXT superstar. He turns 26. Also a current NXT superstar, Sami Zayn, aka El Generico. He turns 29. Current WWE superstar Tyson Kidd turned 33. Current WWE superstar Brock Lesnar, he turns 36. Former WWE superstar, current in New Japan Pro Wrestling superstar Shelton Benjamin turns 38. Also a former WWE superstar, he's currently wrestling in the independent scene, Gregory Helms, aka The Hurricane, he turns 39. Former WWE and WCW wrestler Kevin Nash turns 54. Butch Reed, he's a former WWF wrestler and he turns 59. Mark Mero, former WWF, WCW and TNA wrestler, he turns 50. And the founder of it all, WWE Hall of Fame class of 1996, he passed away in 1984, Vince McMahon Sr. He's the founder of the then WWF, now WWE, and without him, none of this would have been possible. Okay, so that's it for Wrestling Roundup for the week. You've been listening to Grady, Hooker, and Brandon on FreeFM 89.0. Go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/Wrestling Roundup Radio, or our Twitter page, twitter.com/Wrestling R Radio. And we'll see you next week.